What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Playbook Sports Podcast. You know the gang. I don't even need to introduce them. We've got one particular person, though, that we're all going to want to hear from today.
Before we get into today's video, guys, I just want to give a special shout out to today's sponsors, starting with Gold Fine and Bowles, lawyers for the injured. Personal injury, workers' compensation, those are their two things, but any sort of legal advice, they're the people to call. Give them a phone call, 309-673-5144. Tell them we sent you, okay? And I'd also like to shout out SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video as well. Use promo code PlaybookSports on their website to get $20 off your first purchase of $30 or more. Let's get back to the video.
One of us had the pleasure of playing in their championship game this past weekend, and it did not go how they were hoping. You know him. We've got downtown Sage Brown. Sage, coming off of a disappointing end to the Ravens season where it really felt like this was the Ravens year, man. Like all season long, it has just felt like it's going to be Ravens-Niners. They're team one, they're team two. Interchangeable, whichever one you like. These are the best two teams in football. They're going to be there in the end to duke it out. And instead, it's Patrick Mahomes. It's Thanos. He is inevitable. Him and Andy Reid are inevitable. Sage, tell us about the game. Tell us about your initial thoughts, where your head's at, how you're feeling. Good news is you get to live, right? You're not going to win the Super Bowl, so you have to die. There's a bonus.
That's true. It's true.
Right,
you live one more year.
Right. Talk to us.
Yeah, obviously, getting that far, being a sports fan is hard because you get so close and you don't know what's better, getting blown out or getting really close and losing it, you know? And obviously you want to say you got real close, just because it gives you more excitement. It gives you more hope for the future. But I'm not gonna lie, this one hurt a lot. It didn't hurt as much as 2011, the Billy Cundiff missed field goal. I've been through worse. I can think back to those times and remember how we bounced back. Obviously, the next year we won the Super Bowl, so holding out hope for something like that. But that one hurt. As much as I want to go in depth about how the refs absolutely screwed us, the refs called a pretty clean game on the Ravens. Mm-hmm. On the Chiefs, they got away with fuck all everything. Like, I don't know how Zay Flowers gets penalized for standing up and spinning a ball, but Travis Kelce can get in our players' faces every single play. Mm-hmm. And how just blatant PI and blatant defensive holding is a non-call the entire game. And on top, like, but when you take away the ref stuff, we beat ourselves. I mean, why are we playing the Chiefs game? Why are we trying to beat the Chiefs the way the Chiefs play, which is throwing the football? We are the number one ranked run offense in the league for the past, I don't know how many years, but that's just the Ravens' identity. Mm-hmm. But somehow, some way, we forgot how to run the ball. We ran the ball for 230 yards last week against the Texans, who have a better run defense than the Chiefs. And this week we play the 27th ranked run defense, and we're playing for some reason while we're down 10, like we're down 30.
Yeah.
I don't know how we couldn't get in a rhythm. I don't know why we weren't just handing the ball off to Gus Edwards and just grinding out yards. I mean, his first carry went for 15 yards. Mm-hmm. And then we said, you know what? Not doing that again.
They gave him 2 more carries the rest of the game.
Absolutely ridiculous. Just 6 carries for all of our running backs. 6 carries.
That's not
if you look back on the rest of the season, the lowest carries we ever had for our running backs was 15.
6
carries. I can't even think about. I haven't gone in depth on like previous seasons, but I would guess it's been years since we've had single digit carries by a running back.
Oh, years. It has to be.
So obviously an absolute blunder on Todd Monken's part, who was getting head coaching interviews. I don't think that's happening anymore.
Nah.
On the other side of the ball, though, I have so much faith in this defense. I think if Mike McDonald stays, which I hope and pray that he does, we have a bright future ahead of ourselves, because that man literally, after being Swiss cheese for a quarter and a half, turned that around, allowed 0 points for the second half. And just watching that defense put up all that grit, all that effort, Roquan being an absolute leader, being a absolute like genius on the field with committing a penalty at the end to give us a chance, which we had until that third down long play. I mean, I'm recounting the entire game in my head right now, and it's a heartbreaker. It's a heartbreaker yet again. Just 2 years in a row being a Ravens fan and watching our season end on the 1 yard line fumble. All I know, Zay Flowers, he's going to come back better. He is a rookie. That was the epitome of a rookie mistake, and he won't make it again.
Yeah.
OBJ.
He was great. It's unfortunate that his performance in this game is going to be completely overshadowed by the 15-yard taunting penalty that he got on Snead and then the fumble into the end zone. I mean, he had 5 catches, 115 yards, and a touchdown, nearly 2 touchdowns. And he also was your 3rd leading rusher, technically, with 4 yards. But still, at the same time, it's like, man, he played so well, and no one's going to remember that. No one's going to remember the performance he had because of what happened at the end and what happened when it mattered the most, and that sucks. But that's good that it happened his rookie year, right? He's going to grow from that. He's going to grow a ton from that. He played great when it mattered the most. I just, like you said, I don't understand what happened with the play calling, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Like the Chiefs, and I remember saying this in the pregame, the Chiefs against the Bills said, here's how the Bills are going to have to beat us. They're going to have to do slow, long drives, no big plays. They just flipped the script, and against the Ravens, and they said, okay, you want to beat us, you need to go deep. You're going to have to beat us over the top because you're not going to run on us. And it's like the Ravens just fed into that. They're like, you're right. We're not going to run on you guys. We're going to try and take chunk plays, and Lamar's going to throw the ball 40 times. And it's like, no, just say we are better than you. You've got to prove we are the more physical team. We can and will run this ball on you because we can run it on freaking anybody. And instead, they're just like, nah, we'll try and pass the ball. Like, credit to Steve Spagnuolo and the Chiefs defense for doing what they've done. They have been an insane, a very, very underrated defense all season long. There's a crazy stat I saw yesterday, and before I give it, I'm going to give a shout out to First Things First. I don't know if you guys watch that show. I love that show. It sucks that, of course, it's Nick Wright again being right about everything, but like the Chiefs defense in the second half since week 14, the most points they've allowed in the second half is 7. They have not allowed more than 7 points in a single second half of a football game since week 13. That's unbelievable. That is epitome of great coaching. Both of these teams super well coached, and we'll get into a game later when we talk NFC Championship game that maybe some coaching blunders in that one. This one, I don't have any coaching, like no notes for coaching. They did their job. Both of them adjusted in the second half. You only had, 3 points total in the second half of this football game. That is defenses making necessary adjustments, which is what you want to see. It just came down to who made the mistakes and who didn't make the mistakes. And unfortunately for the rest of the NFL, when Patrick Mahomes doesn't turn the ball over in the last 5 seasons, they're 25-1. When Patrick Mahomes has no turnovers, they're 25-1. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. If they lose it, had 0 giveaways last 5 seasons, 25-1, and whenever they've won or tied the turnover battle this year, they're 9-1. That's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. You cannot make a mistake against them. And credit to the Chiefs, but man, it felt like the Ravens took themselves out of this game.
I definitely think you could say Ravens lost this game more than Chiefs won. Sure, Chiefs did everything in their power to hold on defensively, getting plays, but a 1-yard fumble, I mean, obviously good play at Snead, but that's some luck right there. You know, maybe a PI on that throw to Likely. Sure, it was triple coverage. Don't care if there's PI, there's PI. End of the day, pick. That was like a 99-yard drive, though. No huddle the whole time. So guys were gassed. I got to say, Zay Flowers, Nate, you said it. Obviously, people are going to be looking back at the taunting penalty, which sadly, obviously, we could maybe talk if Kelsey deserves some. I think that is a taunt.
I think it was too.
By the rule book, if he turned around and did the same thing, it's not a taunt. He looked at him, and that it sucks because he got caught up a smidge. He still made up for it, though. I can't even blame the guy for the end zone fumble.
No.
I don't even think – he obviously was extending a little late, but it's not like ball was completely extended. Guys just trying to make a play. Snead made a great one.
Perfect play.
Talking about Snead and McDuffie. Flowers did this against practically 2 All-Pros. 1 All-Pro for sure in McDuffie. Snead's a step behind him in talent-wise. So it's like 2 great corners. Rookie showing up in the biggest game so far. The future's definitely bright with him. I will say, during the game, obviously, big-time moment. But when they were down 10 and on the sidelines, they flashed to Lamar. When his demeanor, he was jumping around and he looked angry, frustrated. I was worried for the Ravens because I thought, is he going to try to go superhero? And it felt like when they were down 10, in my mind, I was like, is Lamar trying to get a 10-point play? This game is not on Lamar. When you're down 10 in that AFC Championship game, maybe you should try to go superhero a little bit. But it's like, you look at other guys, it's a tough one when you're comparing to the GOAT. But 28-3 in the Super Bowl, Brady, he's locked on the bench, telling everybody, let's get laser focused.
Yep.
It seemed like the Ravens maybe got a little bit unfocused, maybe imploded just a smidge because things hadn't gone wrong all year. Where had things gone wrong besides a couple games in the regular season? Nothing. Against great teams, nothing had gone wrong. So things go wrong. Just a tough one for the Ravens, though, because Super Bowl is just one game away, and they play damn good, too. I mean, 17-10, just a heartbreaker, though. I mean, on the other side, when Kelsey's 11 for 11,
Dude.
targets, receptions, good luck. And I mean, the one play where Mahomes just practically throws it up, Kelsey makes a diving catch. It's like, okay, that's just connection right there. Don't know how you stop that. And then, I mean, Chiefs offense, we said it before. It's just it's what they're doing right now. 11 targets, Kelsey, 9 targets, Rice. Practically double everybody else on the team. Get your playmakers the ball that you trust. It's those two. Watch out, San Fran. Watch out.
Yeah. Colin, thoughts?
Yeah, you guys have already talked about a few talking points that first came to mind. I'll start this by saying I needed 13 total points in the second half to cash a nice bet, and they score a whopping 3. Shout out China. Looking at some stats this game, though, you guys already talked about it. Ravens having 6 combined carries for their running backs. That is ridiculous. You're not going to win any game doing that because you're not establishing the run game. When a defense can drop 7 or 8 every play because you have no threat of a run besides your quarterback that they can spy, that really opens it. Another stat looking at Ravens scored, obviously their second drive to Zay Flowers, 5 minutes left in the first quarter. They don't score again until 3 minutes left in the fourth. What happens for fucking 2 full quarters? What are we doing, guys? Basically 3 by that point.
Yeah, it's 3.
And then Addison, you just mentioned it. Travis Kelce, 11 for 11. Rashee Rice, 9 targets, 8 catches. It's like, so the 2 guys you had to focus in on defensively, they went for 19 for 20 when he targeted those 2 guys. And it's like, what are we doing? It's one of those, whenever the first drive, you get that back shoulder to Kelce in the corner of the end zone. It's like, oh boy.
Yep, here we go.
It's like, oh boy, we're here, and Kelce is firing. They already got a shot of Swifty up there in the box. But just the comparison, I mean, Ravens had 6 carries with a running back. Pacheco had 24 alone.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy shit. It's just read Mahomes, and that's why I took the Chiefs in this game with the spread. Is I just trust no matter what, no matter who they're playing, where they're playing. By the time the game started, I saw a stat that 4.5 was the largest underdog of Mahomes' career. Playoff, regular season, don't matter. How good are you of a quarterback to where 4.5 points is the biggest spread you've ever seen?
That's crazy.
No one's ever thought you're a touchdown underdog. You've never been a touchdown dog.
Yeah.
That's how good you are. Chiefs just went out and won it. Obviously, the Ravens is a game that, you felt like it's just, I can't really speak from experience being a Cowboy fan in an NFC Championship game because I haven't seen it. But it's just one of those feelings where it's just like, you're not so angry that you lost. It's just like the feeling of, damn, we left that out there. Damn, if we did this just a little different. It's just like the little things that definitely is going to hit you and haunt you throughout the offseason. But I have no doubt with this core and with Lamar at quarterback and Harbaugh as coach, these guys are going to be back.
Yeah. Defensively, they're here for a while. The only thing I got to say for the running backs not getting a carry is obviously you want to see it more. When you are down, tough to take the ball out of the best player on the field, both sides potentially. Obviously, Mahomes is the best, but Jackson right now this season, who's better with the ball in his hands, tough to give it out of his hands often. And I get that, but obviously you want to get the run game going because it opens up so much more. But it's like, maybe he kept some more than he needed to, but that's just him trying to make plays because he's the best player and he's got to try to make plays in the AFC Championship game. So it's like you got to – a little credit. I mean, obviously, you want to get the run game going. 24 carries for Pacheco, but that helps when you get an early lead and you can sort of control the game. If Ravens got the early lead, is it Gus Edwards with 20 carries or just split up between him and Justice Hill, and it's Pacheco with 7? But who knows? Obviously, that's all hindsight. But just a little bit of a back on that with the running backs thing. Obviously, you wish you had more, but I can't fault them too much for not giving the ball from Lamar. So, I mean, I get it.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. And then to circle back just a little bit, like the Kelce, I thought if there's one team in the NFL that has the personnel defensively to slow down Travis Kelce, it is this Baltimore Ravens team. You have 2 of the top middle linebackers. You have the best middle linebacker tandem probably in the NFL, save San Francisco, in Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen. And to complement that, you have an all-pro safety in Kyle Hamilton, who is as big as Travis Kelce is. Why are we not taking him out of the game and saying, all right, Rashee Rice, Richie James, Isaiah Pacheco, you beat us because we are not going to let Travis Kelce the best connection. I mean, technically, statistically wise, Kelsey and Mahomes have the best postseason connection in NFL history. You are not going to beat us. And instead, he catches 11 passes and a touchdown. It's like, damn, how is he not the one guy we won't let beat us? Because you know you can do it. You know you have the personnel to slow him down. And you didn't. And they just didn't do it. And it's so frustrating. And then on the other side, you've got Mark Andrews finally back, and he only gets 2 targets. I would have loved to see him get utilized a little bit more. He caught both of his targets, but 15 yards, it's like, damn, he was a non-factor. It was just kind of disappointing how the game plan came out for the Ravens. It's like, man, you guys have got to have something to slow down Travis Kelce. I don't care if Rashee Rice goes off for $150 and 2 touchdowns, fine. Then Rashee Rice, you beat Marlon Humphrey in one-on-one coverage all day long. Good for you. You earned it. But Travis Kelce is just running around, making play after play after play.
Obviously, not trying to jump your stage because I know you're trying to jump back in on the Ravens talk because we've all talked for a minute. But when the Chiefs blitzed a lot, I mean, you got to give credit to their secondary because they were in man situations where it's one-on-one and they're getting clamp job long enough for where even if Lamar is holding the ball and they get the blitz blocked, nobody's open. So it's like, I mean, a little bit of credit to that. I mean, obviously the secondary gets a lot, but it's like, that's scary. If that's happening with a Mahomes, that's just terrifying to think about.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of Mahomes, I mean, he was the best defensive player on the field that day. Defensive player. He got in our minds so much that he made our offense think that we were down more points than we were. Mm-hmm. The fact that his presence alone, he's that good.
Yeah.
His presence alone makes another team think that they need to score in bunches. When really, if we had one more touchdown, any one of those touchdown drives just would have hit, it's a game. But even when we were down 10, it didn't feel like a game. No. And that's terrifying to know that like a guy is out there in the league like that. You know, he's never out. We've seen him down 24 zip in the playoffs, and we've seen him up, and they're still playing like now we're down 24. Like it doesn't make a difference. This guy's always in the game. But going back to our defense, like there's bright spots. Kyle Hamilton played like an absolute superstar.
Yeah.
You can only cover one person at a time. He wasn't on Kelce the whole game. I think that was a mistake. But when he was, second half, 2 catches. He had 9 catches in the first half. 9 catches, 109 yards. Second half, 2 catches. Kyle Hamilton was on that.
Yep.
You know, you look. Roquan obviously had that defense fired up. Mike McDonald made the proper adjustments, and Lamar was just trying to make hero ball. And I mean, he was catching his own passes.
Yeah, literally.
That was wicked as hell.
Literally.
He was doing anything he could. The touchdown pass he threw to Zay Flowers, I thought, oh my God, that's one of the best plays. It was very reminiscent of the Jaguars play with Smoot all over him. And he just goes right under him.
Yep.
Gets out of there, tosses it up. Absolute dime. I have all the faith in the world that they'll be back, but gosh, it's hard to think with all of the key free agents that we have this offseason, this had to have been our year. You know, like there's potentially Clowney leaving, potentially Van Noy leaving, Patrick Queen last year of his contract. Marlon Humphrey's not getting any younger. Kevin Zeitler, that guard, is leaving. Just so many players. OBJ was on a 1-year contract. Obviously, he was not producing on the field like we thought he was, but gosh, was he a leader in that locker room?
Mm-hmm.
Just so many players that like hard to replicate striking gold in the offseason like that 2 years in a row. So that worries me. That worries me a lot.
I get it. But when you've got Harbaugh at coach and you've got Lamar at quarterback, you like your odds to at least be in this spot again. But sorry, Colin, you were saying?
Oh, no, just a couple last points. Last week, I gave a little shout out to Marquez Valdez-Scantling for being able to catch a few balls in their win against Buffalo. And season on the line, we need a first down to ice the game. Who are we going to? It's almost the same play. I mean, different circumstance. It's not the goal line, but against Philly earlier this year in Kansas City, goes right through his hands. They lose the game. This time, I'm going to possession catch it right in front of my face mask, go to the ground, hold on to it, strong hands. We're going to the Super Bowl. So shout out Marquez Valdez-Scantling, MBS, for silencing some of the haters with the Chiefs receivers can't do anything. Now I know that's only a second catch on a second target of the whole game. So, you know, not the biggest game, but when we need you the most, you came through. But the last thing I'll say on this game is, looking back, any team that can hold the Chiefs scoreless in the second half of a game, you feel very confident that you're going to come out and win that game.
Yep.
And it's just like, as much as you want to bash the, or I don't want to say bash, but as much as you want to blame the Ravens for quote unquote losing this game, you got to give credit to the Chiefs for winning it. Yes, they didn't score in the second half, but they knew that they were up multiple scores. And hey, if we can kill this clock, if we can churn a couple of first downs, who cares if we're punting, because our defense is playing as lights out as it can. But damn, it's just a missed opportunity because 0 points in the second half. And it's just like,
their last 6 drives were punt, 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 and then end of game.
Yeah.
Jeez. And they dominated possession. I mean, 37.5 minutes versus 22.5 minutes. I mean, the Chiefs were just on the field the whole game, just kept churning up clock.
Yep.
And yeah, if you had told me before this game, Chiefs are going to score 17 points, I'm like, oh, Ravens easily win this game. But I think I've just been underrating the Chiefs defense. We've got to give some credit to the Chiefs, especially this postseason run. I mean, yeah, the Dolphins game was in negative 30-degree weather and we didn't have any defensive players left, but they held us to 7 points. Bills, 24 points, and they slowed Josh Allen down to 186 passing yards. And then they had to go to Buffalo and to Baltimore, and they got it done in both places, man. In another down year for the Chiefs. Another year where you're like, this team can't do it. They don't have the talent to do it, much like last year, where the whole year it's like, they don't have the guys. They don't have the guys to do it. They just did it. And they're going to potentially do it again in 2 weeks. Just crazy how good they are and how you just simply cannot bet against them. You just bet at your own risk. Bet against them at your own risk.
Yeah. One last thing, because I know I already said one last thing. That's a trademark of the show. When I say one last thing, just expect 2 or 3 more things out of my mouth. But you talk about this is the down year for the Chiefs, and I would almost argue that last year was a little more impressive than this year, just because of yes, the offensive, production and weaponry has gone down the last 2 seasons, but that defense has never been better in Kansas City, in the Mahomes era at least. And so where the offense goes down, yes, he doesn't have all these receivers. Yes, he doesn't have a Tyreek Hill. But guess what? He's got a McDuffie. He's got a guy here, a guy there. And they are just so damn good defensively. I think it's going to be a great Super Bowl. As much as America wanted Lions-Ravens, it's going to be a great Super Bowl between Chiefs 49ers. And I can't wait the game.
We kind of have to thank Brady right now, because if it wasn't for him, he'd have 4 rings.
Yeah. Oh, I do not think it's a stretch I can hardly argue against anybody coming on here and saying Mahomes is the best quarterback we've ever seen play football. I can't really argue against that. I just simply can't. Brady has a dream, but Mahomes has been to 6 straight AFC Championship games now, 4 Super Bowls in his first 6 years as a starter. I mean, my God.
Sage, that's actually a great point. Obviously, I mean, just clicking in my head, I mean, the Patriots beating them in the AFC Championship game, they obviously slapped those Rams if they score 3. You know what I mean? Chiefs dominate that game, and then in the Bucks beating them in the Super Bowl. So you're not wrong. Brady's keeping them away from being the GOAT already, but I know it's sort of dumb. Obviously, teams that win a lot, you hate to see it from some fans' perspectives. Getting to watch Mahomes from the start of his career to what's going to be the finish of his career is a little different. Yeah. I don't dislike it so much. And thank God they're the AFC as well, though. I mean, if they're an NFC team, screw them, right?
Yeah. Having to deal with them.
Must be nice. Must be nice.
Yeah. I'm already tired of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to Arrowhead next year. I'm going to Arrowhead. I'll be there.
I'm tired of it.
I'm tired. All right.
We don't want to see Warriors Cavs for 8 straight finals.
No, please. I mean, this will be the Niners were in the Super Bowl and then they lost back-to-back NFC Championship games, and now they're in the Super Bowl again. It's like, okay, so it's just going to be Niners Chiefs. That's fan-freaking-tastic.